as opposed to like a hook build or a token build, or even going full in on the Rek'sai archetype where you have I the names of the cards are escaping me, but all the ones that get abilities when you look at them off the top.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, and fair enough, we don't get to see too much Rek'Sai. So hopefully we get to see some of
mhm.
those cards here in this round 5. Let's go ahead and tell these guys to get their match going. And hopefully some of these other guys in the tournament. I mean, granted, they started a little bit early. That is okay. It's not going to be the end of the world, but everyone has been given the green light. So let's go and join these players for that final round of Swiss. And to your point, Innae, or earlier point, it's almost a bit of a battle of removal, isn't it? Because both of these players, or both of these legends rather, have been known, at least in set 2, to really pack on the removal. And I have the hidden cards. I wonder if people at home are like, show us the cards, plus, show us the cards. All right, we'll show you guys the cards in hand, and here they are. So double stupefy down at the bottom, the bellows breath, and then the or the blood money. So I think this is that prison Victor, isn't it?
it could be. You still play most of these cards in the non-removal version, so I wouldn't conclusively say we know yet, because the Victor deck can still opt to play like Xin Zhao is a powerful one. You can still see the plundering Poro, which unfortunately is no no treasure merchant, but still. Ooh, accelerating the Rek'Sai immediately. Okay, really says I am going to conquer.
Yeah,
Fair
right
enough.
off the get go. So trying to get those points as soon as you can. The only caveat being you're not able to defend it you're not able to defend it too well. I mean, he's just saying you only have a recruit. You're only gonna have 5 runes the next turn. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, we kind of know there's a double stupefy in hand to make it an even trade, but that's gonna be netting you a +2 draw. But on top of that, you could get a +2 draw right here, right now, if you go for a Dreaming Tree trigger. But it looks like he's going to be paying 4 for the champion. And I like this setup, NA. You have the champion on the board for your Stupefies next turn. But it feels a little risky knowing that Rek'Sai has so much removal like Vengeance, things like Falling Star to double up targeted on that Victor. So it's a little risky. But in this situation, maybe not all that bad, but I am seeing a card that could be pretty impactful here, are we?
Yeah, well, it's actually going to be pretty good here if the Rek'Sai does choose to dedicate removal here, because you're going to be able to actually get 2 Victor triggers and draw 4 cards here. So you're still getting 2 tokens of value. So you actually don't hate this. This is like a pretty good trade for you,
Okay, it looks like
because
he
you get.
does activate, as you mentioned, the Consult of the Past, getting 1 trigger, and then the Stupefy, as you mentioned, a +4 draw. That is massive. So it doesn't feel that bad. It almost feels like it was a bit worth it. So even if it did get brought down, as we're seeing now, a +4, +2 recruits, that's almost a good value trade right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I will say what does potentially get a little bit scary is Rek'Sai could opt to, and I probably wouldn't do this at this point. I think you're fine with this game state. Is what you could do is go to remove tokens by targeting your own units with the piercing light. But I think like I said, I'm pretty fine with this. In fact, I'd probably just retreat my Rek'Sai and hold for next turn. Maybe play the what do you call them? The Noxus Hopeful and base, as we have played the we have. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a Phoenix Mill. I didn't see that. Okay, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Activating on the kill. So Immortal Phoenix getting brought back from that trash. So kind of establishing a decent amount of board pressure. Assault 2 on the Phoenix, bringing that attacking status up to 5 on your turn. But 2 or at Estelion going up to 2 on their turn. Make that 3 with a double recruit token, Conquer, and a whole lot more cards than Rek'Sai has to work with. As we're seeing here, Wages of Pain could be coming into play down the road, but a Stupefy just to draw two. It looks like Victor really electing to draw nice and early, which I mean, we see how good it works out for Draven, and maybe that's the card he was digging for, but he's just one rune shy from playing it, right? That singularity would have been massive for Victor.
Yeah, it would have been pretty good. I don't hate it still. I mean, you could go like um you could do like a repeated bellows and then stupefy the kill one, but I think at this point he's probably just fine holding his cards. And you could go like on the push, you could go a stupefy into a a blood money, right? And
Hmm.
actually, do they both have assault? No, they both have assault. Never mind, that would not work, unfortunately.
Yeah, two might
You
or
could go.
less. Yeah, Assault 1 is Assault 2. So Rek'Sai coming in at 4, and then the Immortal Phoenix, of course, coming in at 5. So
Mhm.
maybe just trying to do something like that hidden blade. But in this situation, we've seen how much he values drawing cards. I'm willing to bet that hidden blade is not for his opponent. He's going to be triggering that hidden blade on the dreaming tree, allowing him to draw an extraordinary 3 cards. I mean, we thought Victor has already drawn enough. This Victor, although he's the removal Victor, I feel like he's playing this very well, almost drawing and keeping up with the draw power that we've seen from those chaos miracle decks, if you will. Because I mean, this is a lot. Is it just the dreaming tree putting in work, or is Victor doing things that we've not seen too often?
I mean, this is actually a version of Victor you can play currently. In fact, me and my testing group worked on a blue Victor deck like this, where you still do play some of your really good units like the Watcher and stuff, but then you opt to play uh, more hiddens with the Consult the Pasts and the Hidden Blades. And then if you do choose to play it, you might be playing Sprite Call. If you played Sprite Call, that's kind of a sign that this it. It can also be Face Breaker, and you play some seals to make these hiddens free, and you do keep up a card economy quite a bit. I will say the kind of scary thing with this deck is if you are not stopping your red opponent from double conquering every turn, it can get a little bit spooky, especially when the opponent you're playing against is the Rek'Sai deck that can potentially just see free falling stars off the top.
Right.
Because token heavy build of Victor, what it really dislikes is when its tokens just get aggressively removed every turn. And that was the problem that we had when we were doing our testing, is that the Kaisa matchup was really hard because she would go really neg to remove your tokens. Like falling star for 2 tokens feels pretty bad. But it doesn't matter if you can't build more board presence.
Yeah, it really doesn't. But I'm liking this, what Victor's doing right here, right now. The Stupefier, bring it down to 4, Wages of Pain, applying 3 total damage onto the bird. And now the Phoenix is going to be trading 1 for 1. But instead, I think he's going to be going in for the quick draw longsword, bringing that back up to essentially, well, I mean, 7 total might, of course, but surviving by 2 total might. So going to be getting conquered up to going up to 3. And you still have a Noxus Hopeful if you don't want to do the Rek'Sai. I mean, it depends what you value more. Do you value, I mean, they're both technically 4 might, but one of them, the Rek'Sai champion, every unit played outside of the hand gets accelerated. So I like that thing a little bit more. I'm curious though, is he not going to do the Rek'Sai ability for conquering? Oh, he
He
does.
just
Zon
did.
Warren's first and then Rek'Sai. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking on the Zon Warren's trigger and does draw the falling star. So we could see that used if he chooses to. I actually don't hate not doing it this turn, but you could aggressively choose to just pop both tokens, which also deals with the hidden, which it could. There are real hiddens that are not the hidden blade for your own draw. Like we said before, there's like the face breakers, there's the sprite call. There are hiddens that are actual combat. So we'll see if he does choose to do so. But no, it looks like he opts to play out a broker instead.
Yeah, wants to save it for a little bit down the road. Alexa just go for the Honest Broker with the final 2 remaining runes. So isn't able to push. The Honest Broker would technically come in accelerated because of that Sun Disc on the current board, but doesn't look like he has any intention of pushing in with the Honest Broker. Instead goes in for 4. Actually, it would make sense because Hidden Blade could come out, But as I said, I think this Victor, no, okay, Hidden Blade on the Rek'sai. And wait a minute, NA, wouldn't this Honest Broker come in accelerated?
No, because you don't actually have time to play it. Because what happened is the first card he played was the longsword, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the longsword, actually, did he play the sun disk that turn? I missed it. Maybe did he?
I think he did, yeah.
Oh, then yeah, he could have just used the sun disk, and then that would have worked. So maybe a bit of a misstep there.
Perhaps because he could have pushed in, allowing Victor to not go up to 4, but 4 points he goes, and Singularity was the draw for the previous turn, doing great work. Immortal Phoenix going down, the Honest Broker going down, just leaving a field of equipments and gears left for the Rek'Sai to his name. The recruit going to be pushing up to 5 total points. Estelion and this Victor legend looking pretty good. On top of that, he just picked up a Hidden Blade. We thought he was going to do the Hidden Blade draw 3 in the previous turn. I feel like in this play, not looking too bad. I mean, you have a Sprite Call, Bellows Breath, and Watcher for some kind of follow-up potential. But after drawing 3 cards, you're going to be able to see a whole lot more, of course, resources, but a whole lot more options available to you for that following turn. So I like this play. And Sundus might be coming in clutch now because I hope he remembers the trigger this time around. Because after you play a card, Legion does come online. You're able to exhaust the Sundus, and then the next unit you play does come in ready. Granted, I'm only seeing one unit right now, that being the Noxus Hopeful. So let's see if he's able to pick up something else from this Void Rush.
Absurd card.
Oh,
One of the
yeah.
best signature spells in the game.
Oh, yeah.
it Yeah, this card is really crazy. Not only does it essentially play a card from your top two for nearly free, but it's a draw as well. So yeah, gotta love this card. And should so the reason last turn, by the way, going back to last turn, the reason I actually do like the Hidden Blade on the Rek'Sai is because he forgot the Sun Disk and didn't and was tapped out, so he did not have enough runes to actually do anything. You actually put the Rek'Sai on odd points, which sets them back a whole turn and actually puts Victor in the lead for the 8 point. So
That
good.
does
That was
make
actually a pretty
sense.
good turn. Yeah.
And it looks like instead of playing anything out, he could have played the Noxus Hopeful for free, but decides to go ahead and draw the 2 cards instead. That's what makes that Void Rush so powerful. But Piercing Light, another powerful spell coming out from the Rek'Sai's corner, going to be targeting the Dreaming Tree, but this is just an opening. Oh, and the repeated Piercing Light on top of that. So targeting everything on board, but Hidden Blade coming in at reaction speed, allowing him to pick up those 3 cards. That is the third Hidden Blade, the third Watcher, and an Honest Broker off the top of the deck. Things are not looking too bad. On top of that, you will get the Immortal Phoenix back on the board, and he did remember to exhaust the Sun Disk, so it does come in ready, allowing him to go up to the even point threshold or point tempo in general. Does he want to push? And that he does. So I think Immortal Phoenix is one of those units, you know, he's coming back anyway, so you don't care about pushing forward while you're completely tapped out. That's almost what he's made for in this deck.
I'm not. Maybe they shortcutted it, but the Sun Disk was missed there, as Sun Disk is not a reaction. You have to do it before you play the unit, and he kind
Yeah.
of like tapped it after you play the unit. So maybe they're just shortcutting.
Or his
In which
opponent
case,
being nice, saying like, "Oh, I meant to do this. Let me do this because
yeah,
that's what I was gonna do anyways." But yeah, if this was like a full on
yeah.
regional, he would have technically missed that window.
I'm kind of curious why. Do you have any insight on why he might have chosen to not play the hopeful for free?
Yeah, maybe to say I have more cards in hand because it would have been for free. He didn't have to tap any runes. And the Sun Disc doesn't read your immediate next card that play. It's any unit, or does it read? Because that would be the reason why. I think that
Well,
is it's the next unit you play. So he didn't want to trigger Sun Disc just yet. He wanted it to be with Immortal Phoenix. That would be my only guess.
well, if you remember, Sun Disk is a slow spell or a slow activation, so
Oh,
you could
you,
just activate it before you play the Phoenix, right? So, um, it doesn't like trigger if
yeah,
that makes sense.
I got you.
Anyways, anyways, maybe a little bit of misstep, or maybe we're totally missing something. It's always possible. The players are chatting to each other, so there are things that we could miss. But Ooh, third hidden blade coming down. I would be
Yeah.
not happy at all if I was Rek'Sai if I
At
get hidden bladed
all.
a third time. Oh,
I
no.
know. But yeah, I'm thinking back, what would he hold the Noxus hopeful for? But either way, he's gonna be able to push out a good amount of units this next following turn. Either that, and funny enough, he ends up picking up the third Noxus hopeful. The bird ends up holding, so up to 5 points, I believe the Rek'Sai player goes. He shuffles his hand. He knows we see it. He's scared Estelion is watching the stream as well. I hope no one's not. The stream delay should be enough time to not let these players go, but it is in the rules that the feature match players shouldn't be on the stream just to keep everything nice and clean. And to be fair, it's a weekly, guys. We're all looking to improve. If you're trying to do any kind of little cheat sheet on a weekly, you're really not going to improve that way. But the falling star coming down, trying to get rid of perhaps the honest broker. I think two targets on the battlefield is best just to get rid of the hidden card. But in this situation, it's just going to be another +3 draw for Viktor. Man, I think this Viktor might take the crown of most card draws in a single game.
So this is a little bit of a weird play unless they are opting to use the cull later in the turn, specifically because when your Victor opponent is at 6 points, it's pretty difficult, if not impossible, for them to accelerate 2 units unless it's specifically like Sprite Call plus Watcher. So if you actually go to clear the backline token, it makes it almost impossible for you to lose on the next turn, barring like again some really weird turn. So this is kind of curious that he chooses to clear the battlefield when you are almost certainly able to just put excuse me. Oh my gosh.
It's
You're
all
almost
good.
certainly able to just clear it through combat instead. But another Immortal Phoenix comes down. He could still call the weak. That is still an option. In fact, I would not be surprised if that happened. Um,
Yeah, could call the week with the final two runes remaining. But you know what? I'm seeing a 1-2 combo that Victor players have been really enjoying this set is the Imperial Decree Bellows Breath combo. If there was any more units, let's say if there's a Noxus Hopeful getting played out with the final two runes available to Rek'Sai, that Bellows Breath, actually, it's at the same location if I remember right. Yeah, so you're
yeah.
not able to pick away everything on the board. Unless it's a repeat, you do have enough runes for Imperial Decree and a repeated Bellows Breath, but that's going to be able to take down just one side unless he splits everything evenly and knocks his hopeful on the back, but no, pairs it up with the Zon Warrens, but then retreats. Okay, this is one way to play around Bellows Breath. I like this. At most he can do is just take out two of those units. I guess three with the recruit pushing in too.
This should be game unless I'm missing something, as Rek'Sai is chose to not play the Call of the Week, so now you can just go Watcher, and then you can use your blood money and take out one and shove up, and that should be game. But
Yeah,
let's
I'm right there with
see.
you. Everything is pointing to Victor winning this game. The Watcher coming
Mhm.
down, always a huge pivotal card. And especially considering the fact Rek'Sai is completely tapped out. So Watcher going in, gonna be getting Conquer #1. Now a little recruit token trying to take down the Immortal Phoenix. I mean, Immortal Phoenix only at 3 might. Only at 3 might. Make that 1 might with the Watcher ability. So I think you're right. The blood money should be enough. Even if you want to do a face breaker, isn't that just 2 might or 2 energy as well? I mean, it's unneeded. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary. He could even push.
Well, that one wouldn't work, right? Because you have to stun at the same battlefield. So you would push up your unit and stun. I mean, this works too, sure.
Yeah.
And
Repeated
that'll be
Bellows
it.
Breath. 1-2, 1-2. That's going to be enough to take it down. Victor will be getting game #1 of this final round of Swiss. And we saw someone in chat, I know 7 minutes ago, technically say this might just be Victor's worst matchup. It didn't feel that way. As I said before, it could just be Dreaming Tree hard carrying in that matchup because Rek'Sai doesn't have too many cards to take advantage of battlefields like Dreaming Tree. Because usually a lot of legends, let's say if this was against an Irelia or versus even Dravens could benefit from it sometimes. Just any cards. I feel like Rek'Sai doesn't really have a card that would target a friendly unit. I'm trying to think about it now. I mean, I guess you could have played it similar how Victor played it with the hidden blades, but it just didn't really come up in that game one.
There are some instances where you are okay with like falling starring one of your units, or Rek'Sai is order could have hidden blades in the deck, right? That is a possibility. I don't think we saw any, but it could be something, or even sided. I will say, even though Victor did win, I think there were multiple spots there where Rek'Sai did have the opportunity to win, or if not win, like be in a better position, and
Right.
it would have been a closer game, right? So it's a little bit hard to say in the moment, or say in retrospect, or it's easy to say in retrospect, pardon me, but maybe there was an opportunity for the Rek'Sai to find the victory there, but we'll never know. So, anyways, on to game two. Rek'Sai leading us off with the Seat of Power. This isn't a battlefield we see too much.
Yeah, not at all. I'm actually pretty unfamiliar with it. So let's take a read. When you conquer here, draw one. And I hate how TGA does it. When I hover over and there's an action, it takes it away. But draw one for each battlefield. Okay, I have read it before. For each battlefield you or your allies control if you're playing in a multiplayer setting. But in this setting, if you control the other battlefield, you draw one. So I think this favors Victor more so on the play than the draw, but it is a Rek'Sai battlefield. So on the play makes complete sense because you're going to be conquering and pushing those battlefield advantage before your opponent. So this makes sense to push the Targon's Peak, allowing you to tap out for something like Immortal Phoenix since you have the seal online already. And then you get two back. In this situation, isn't going to be doing too much since you don't have any combat tricks. But then when you push forward with that Immortal Phoenix, you should be able to get the +1 draw from that Poro on the Targon's Peak. But okay, decides to play out the Noxus Hopeful instead as the Rek'Sai trigger. Not too bad. Pretty good pressure so far.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better hits you can have early in this game. Though, as I did say in the previous game, aggressively removing the token heavy Victor units can be pretty good too. So, a falling star there would have been nice, but we can't have everything. We are not always going to draw that falling star or hit that falling star. So, cannot go wrong with a 2 cost for might.
Now, if you're the Victor player, Innae, are you trying to take the trade with Honest Broker on Pouty Poro, or would you rather play something like one of those sprite calls to kind of conquer outright? Because I feel like there's a couple lines for Victor thinking ahead.
It's going to depend what the draw for turn is, as the hand is pretty dead, honestly. Yeah, this hand is not very good. You don't really have any draw, which is going to make me. Yeah, he forgot the Targon's trigger. Huh. Okay, so in
I
this
think he's
case,
just kind of telegraphing, I don't have anything to use for the Targon's trigger.
so in this case, because I know my opponent. Oh no, we're doing it this way. Okay, yes. I was gonna say, because we know our opponent has nothing, I am gonna sprite call, kill the Poro, and then push up or broker onto the seat of power, and that's gonna get me a draw and maybe find a usable card. And it looks like that's what the line we've discovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Okay,
does seem
nice.
like the optimal line. You get the Conquer with that Sprite token. You push up forward with the Honest Broker, allowing you to get a gold token if you do get taken out from that Noxus Hopeful. So not too bad. Looking at the hand of Rek'Sai, it's okay. It's not fantastic, but depends on the hits you're able to get with the Void Rush slash the Conquer from the Noxus Hopeful. So no one too much in the lead so far, but of course, Victor getting a single point up on the Rex side nice and early on, but not able to do too much more than that. Blood Money is an action. You're able to kill nothing except your own and get 2 gold tokens for your troubles. Does get 1 recruit onto the battlefield, but I think that's going to be a pass on, and let's see what Rek'Sai ends up picking up on their third turn.
Yeah, this is not really a good spot for Victor. This is where the build does struggle a fair bit, is when you're off of Dreaming Tree and you don't see your Consult the Pasts or your Hidden Blades. You're just kind of stuck in this top deck mode, and your deck doesn't play like a lot of individually good cards. Like, you want to see a bunch of combos. And the Rek'Sai deck, I mean, you've got Void Rush and you have your leader, right? So you have a lot of ways to see more cards, where just built into the deck. Where the Victor deck is more you have to find your answers, which kind of stinks. So, but
Right.
not a great Void Rush to be
Yeah,
honest.
I was gonna say, well, speaking of kind of stinks, this top two cards not feeling too ideal for Rek'Sai, a Soaring Scout and an Honest Broker, kind of low impact cards. I mean, you could play out one, but at this point, you might as well just pick them up into your hand. But granted, the only other play you have with the final three runes will be Immortal Phoenix. So just go in and play. Actually, it's free, right? Free is free. Might as
Yeah.
well play it out. He said, I didn't get the free play last term. Might as well get the free play now. So it does decide the Soaring Scout, and then drawing the other one is what he wants to be doing as of right now. And he could decide to play out the Immortal Phoenix, but because the seal is tapped, he's going to have to pay a Chaos Rune for that. But he could, as we're seeing right here, I was just going to mention the Sun Disc coming into effect. So you exhaust it, and the Immortal Phoenix does come in accelerated. So he's able to conquer both battlefields if he chooses to do so. Pushing up with the Phoenix first, he should be able to conquer unless... No, I'm not seeing anything in hand. As Sprite Call is an action, that would be 6 to 5, right? Is that worth it?
Yeah, you could do that and it would trade. And the nice thing with that play is it does mean that you end up denying the draw as well. And you don't get the conquer trigger off a Rek'Sai immediately. Is it worth it? That's a good question.
I think
I
you
think pers-
win the trade, right? Or no.
yeah, yeah, no, you do. It'll be 6 on 5, right?
Right.
Yeah, so but my point was that they now like he can still push up the hopeful onto the broker, right? So it is going to lose something, but you prevent the draw, which is good. Your opponent has tapped out, so you know there's nothing else happening. So if they do end up pushing up onto the seat of power, then the Rek'Sai like can't hit anything that matters because you have no runes up. All you can hit is like a seal.
Yeah, and on top of that, you don't get the +1 draw. He was hoping to push in Targon's Peak, allow the Phoenix to sit there before the Conquer, allowing him to draw one because you control the other battlefield, of course. But spoiling the plans, he wasn't expecting the double Sprite Call. I wonder if that's a Cyborg card, that Sprite Call coming in. Unless we just didn't see it in game one, but he does decide to go after the Seat of Power, does get the gold token generated from the Honest Broker, so tying things up 2-2. The temporary status on that Sprite token will be triggered on the begin phase, so you're not going to be able to get an additional point for the hold. And oh, these draws aren't too ideal for Victor. Had a fantastic game one, but if these forerunners end up coming out, maybe the first one next turn, I feel like that's gonna be the edge going in the favor of Rek'Sai because the recruit. But let's see, Singularity is always quite impactful when it comes down.
Did he not play the seal first? Kind of confused. I feel like this is like a pretty clear seal and then play singularity because you're losing the same amount. But maybe he did and we just missed it. The I actually didn't like the conquer of the seat of power by the hopeful because you give the gold token and you get give a draw available to the victor, where the victor's hand, as you kind of saw and you could kind of make a read on, was not great, seeing as he's doing stuff like playing sprite calls as combat tricks.
Right.
So pushing up onto the seat just gives your opponent another conquer into another draw, and you can kind of tell that the victor deck is almost always going to be able to remove a single formite unit if that's all you have on the board. So I think developing the base probably was going to be a little bit better there.
Yeah, we'll see if it ends up biting him a little later on, but let's see what Rek'Sai decides to do. I think he's going into an accelerated Rek'Sai champion, it looks like. So does play it with the additional cost. Does pay the power with the seal cores, but going to be swinging in for 4. He's trying to consider, is there any 2-rune ability, any 2-rune spell I have to be very considerate of if I make this push? Because I'm leaning towards, I mean, either or, but looking at Targon's Peak, just in case he did have a little bit of a combat spell, or at the very minimum, you get to bluff it. Looking at things, it is going to be able to conquer Blood Money, only going to be able to target units that are 2 might or less. Would you blood money your own recruit? Because doesn't it read play a gear token? If it was a friendly unit, play 2 gear tokens. That doesn't seem
At
too bad.
at this point in the game, you might be fine with doing that because the blood money is probably not ever killing an opponent's unit again, and getting the gold tokens might be worth it. It does give a read on the rest of your hand though, right? Because you could say, okay, well, he has no other tricks for me. The 2 runes are now gone, and he did expend a card for a combat that was already lost, right? Oh my gosh. Look at those reveals.
Yeah, double Thunder Song. Not going to be able to play him out from the Rek'sai ability on the Conquer. So going to be hitting the bottom of the deck. Does have enough runes. The Sun Disc will be online. Does he want to exhaust it first? It looks like oh, there it is. There it is. He does exhaust it first. And then Immortal Phoenix comes in with the acceleration. And now does decide to go with the blood money on its own recruit, generating those 2 gold tokens. So I think the idea was there. He was thinking of sacrificing one of the recruits, and I like this line. Like we thought it was going to be in the previous turn. You conquer Targon's Peak and then push forward on the other battlefield to get the additional draw on the Seat of Power. And he does get the additional draw, and a decent draw nonetheless. That is a piercing light. A lot of Victor's units are very low to the ground, so piercing light might not even need to be repeated. And if you did repeat it, you could take out a max of 4 units if it's all recruit tokens from Victor.
And it's like a little mini Acathian Rain. Pretty
Right.
pretty annoying for the spell heavy Victor deck. Finally, a card that is letting him see more cards. Unfortunately, maybe not the one he wants, but oh, and the call of the week isn't great here as well because you don't want to you want to be able to establish multiple units, but I guess you're fine because you'll just go, I'll play my Victor token, I'll call the weak one, and then I'll push up on whichever one. Or okay, not going that route. This is good too. Playing out the Sprite Mother, maybe choosing to trade the token into like the Rek'Sai or the Phoenix. Probably the Rek'Sai, right? Because the Phoenix potentially can come back with a removal unit. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more valuable since as you said, the Phoenix could just come back anyways. Trading 1 for 1, so going to be pushing on the recruit. Now, the question, as you said, as you brought to our attention, does he want to go for Call of the Week or for the same reasons being Phoenix ends up coming back? But the answer has been stated on the board here. Call of the Week does get played out, takes care of both units. That kind of bit of a tempo play, right? You don't want your Rex guy to go up to 5, but he didn't have Sundis anymore, so he couldn't get up to the 6 point. But I think now you're kind of out of options. There's no units on the board. I would be surprised if there's not a Ferris Forerunner hitting the board for Rek'Sai coming forward. Or could you see another line that could be a little bit better looking at the hand?
I mean, if I'm Rek'Sai, I'm actually kind of fine with this board state because Victor is not taking 2 points next turn. It's pretty much impossible. So Victor's just gonna go up to 6. So I can go play my Forerunner and pass. And then on the Victor's turn, Victor pushes up a Sprite Mother. And then I can go on my next turn. I don't even have to attack into it, so I'm not like afraid of a hidden. I can just go play the Piercing Light and then opt to play the Piercing Light, clear the Sprite Mother, clear the token in the back line, push up the Forerunner, and then Victor actually is going to have a pretty hard time coming back from that because the only real answers are also things that aren't going to like deal with the tokens created, and then you are potentially going up, but it double Phoenix trigger is pretty good.
Oh,
So this is
yeah.
not bad either.
That's exactly what they're made for. You bring more than one back if they're in the trash from a single kill spell. We saw the Call of the Week take down the backline Sprite Mother, bringing in the two Immortal Phoenix. Gonna be playing. So I was a little bit wrong there. I forgot that there was a lot of potential in the trash with those Immortal Phoenix. So didn't have to pay out the Ferris Forerunner to establish a good enough board state, pushing things forward in the next round. On top of that, there's no units to pressure out these battlefields for the Victor. Going for Singularity, though, taking out the birds almost as soon as they came in. Not too bad. Viktor doing what he does, gonna be putting on one recruit token on top of the on his broker. Let's see if there's a little payback time. You're not gonna be able to play out the piercing light because there's no units. If he plays Void Rush and hits a falling star, that could be exactly what he needs to really nail this down and kind of solidify a win. Because look at the hand for Viktor. He went from having like 10 plus cards in game one to just having a lonely Imperial Decree. It's a heck of a card, but not when it's all by himself, right?
You can clear everything here. You actually piercing light your own unit and
Oh,
clear the
right,
back
right.
line. Yeah. So in fact, that's what he should do probably, because that'll also get both of the phoenixes again. So see if he sees that.
Oh, he's definitely seeing it. He tapped four for the repeated effect, piercing light number one. And then you target it as well because the repeat would go on before the treasure hoarder. Yeah, that's exactly right. So you double target your own unit on that battlefield and then target the two backline, getting a gold token. But more importantly, you're keeping Victor off points. So not letting him score whatsoever. But you also don't have too many cards
Did,
to push on forward. But unless Void Rush and double Falling Star, he had so much removal on this turn.
did he forget his phoenix?
Wait, Innae, that was the exact line. Wait,
Oh
wait,
my
wait,
god.
wait. That's what he wanted to do, no?
Yeah, that was like the whole point of that play. Well,
One, two. Oh man, what a misplay. Of
yeah.
course, Rek'Sai having a lot on his mind, want to get the Void Rush, but a double Phoenix play is a double conquer play right here. If he had it, he had the runes available. You don't need to go up to 8 right now. You pay a power for each. Oh, and I think he had a bit of a misstep, didn't he?
Yeah, and you can still like he's still in a very good position. Don't get me wrong here. I think right here I would even just falling star the token and then trigger my phoenixes again. We'll see if he goes for that because otherwise your other option is just establish poros, establish the forerunner and pass. But honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm just falling starting the token and now hopefully remembering to trigger my phoenixes.
Yeah, he's definitely kicking himself a little bit. He's saying like, wait a darn minute. I was supposed to get my phoenixes the previous turn. I won't do the same mistake twice. It looks like he's digging through the trash. I would only imagine by him taking a little bit of time looking at the two cards in the discard pile. Immortal Phoenix number one and number two allowed to be brought from killing an opposing unit. You pay one and a Fury Rune to bring me back, and it looks like he finally got it together a little bit. So paying two energy, recycling two Fury Runes to bring both Immortal Phoenix back. But he could
Mhm.
have done that the previous turn, and that actually would have been a game-winning turn because you push up both battlefields, and then if Victor pass, you hold both battlefields, right? Or actually, it
Mhm.
would still be the next turn because this turn here that just passed would be his two
Yeah, he would have
conquer
gone to 7.
turns. Yeah.
He would have gone to 7. So now this is like that was like a very very good draw for Victor now as well because now you get to go up to 6 here as you get to go up to 6, which now threatens a game on the next turn. That being said, the falling star is going to make this a lot easier. I wouldn't expect to see the hidden blade played out as a hidden on that battlefield. Hopefully, see some more cards. And yeah, now hide the hidden blade. So makes sense. This falling star is going to go hard, unfortunately, but that is okay. What can you do?
Yeah, what can you
It's
do?
still
At the
not.
very least, Victor will be
Mhm.
allowed to get one recruit,
Two.
two with the stupefy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So actually, that does work. That still is possible, even through the falling star.
Yeah, let's see what he decides to do. Going to be pushing in with the Immortal Phoenix, swinging in for 5 might. Does he want to try defend? I don't think that would be too smart of him. The Hidden Blade most likely better off drawing you 2 cards. So activating the Hidden Blade on its own sprite tokens and a double Hidden Blade getting hit off the top. We don't get to see that too often. 3 Hidden Blades in the same vicinity. That is kind of funny to see, but it's gonna come at the cost of the Rek'Sai going up to 6 total points. So now he's in that sweet spot as well. But Victor's getting to it first. Does
I
he
mean,
want to?
unless Rek'Sai sees removal off of this, that could just be game because you can just double Hidden Blade the battlefields and push up tokens.
Yeah, you're saying push up, get to seventh, or just go for the falling star? Falling star would have to target the recruit and the sprite mother, leaving the victor alone. And then how is
The
Victor
Victor's
going?
3 might.
Oh, is he? I don't know why I'm
Yeah,
seeing four.
yeah.
Oh, right,
So
right. He's four cost, but
yeah.
three might.
So what I was saying is the double calls actually make this winnable for Victor here because he can go assuming that Rek'Sai's play is Falling Star Victor plus Sprite Mother, which I imagine it is. You just go stupefy, draw a card with the victor, play another token, and then you can play another recruit. So you're at two recruits, and then on your turn, you go Hidden Blade on Phoenix 1, Hidden Blade on Phoenix 2, push up 2 tokens, and try and double conquer for game.
Oh, and
So
you're so right. To make matters worse for Rek'Sai, that's a call of the week. You don't even have to give him more cards, even if there was an out. But as we said before, Rek'Sai not really known for having too many combat tricks on the defense. So I like what you're saying, Innae. I think a double kill spell, push both recruit tokens, completely tapping out because you have no other option. This makes things a little bit difficult, but I think as we said, Hidden Blade, Call of the Week might just be your best bet. Who cares about giving your opponent more cards when they have no runes to use them, right? So I think this will be a GG Victor. Gonna be able to conquer both battlefields. I spoke too soon. A Hidden Blade. Wait a second, and then we might have a game on our hands.
what is the play here? I think your first action is probably the dig with salvage. Because this could be very easy if you find like a bellows, you just go uh you just go for the
Imperial, yeah.
yeah, bellows decree and then that clears everything. Well, not everything, almost everything. Um it's
Let's see. Yeah, I think he's going right with your line. Tap into most likely for a salvage just to dig a little bit further. He has 12 runes to work with, but he has to be a little bit mindful. The Imperial Decree is going to be costing 5. A Bellows Breath going to be going 6 of that. So half of your runes invested to just that combo. Because right now, the play that we thought would work if he was tapped out wouldn't really work because of the Hidden Blade coming off
mhm.
and available to the Rek'Sai player. So he's going to be able to not get one of those recruits in. And even if he clears the board, he's still not going to be able to push a double conquer this turn. The Rek'Sai just closed things out. It's looking really tough for Victor.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. What This is not how I would have played this. Okay, so he's got a plan. Let's see what it is.
Yeah, man, with the plan, the Imperial Decree going to be pushing the recruit token. So I think he's going for the non-conquer. Oh, wait a second. Imperial Decree on your own, Imperial Decree into killing your own units is not exactly what I had in mind. Because couldn't you just kill your own units before even using Imperial Decree?
I, I'm very confused, to be honest.
Because is Imperial Decree retroactive? Like if you play a sprite call there, yeah, it's when any unit takes damage this turn. So it is kind of working that way. Maybe he was trying to play to some kind of out of a sprite call, sprite mother, but with the Hidden Blade being in hand, of course, we have that information. Victor does not. It's still looking like Rek'Sai should be able to take it home and bring us to game 3 with about 15 minutes remaining in the round.
Yeah, this was a very strange way to play this. What is he digging for? I I thought he had a chance, but just playing that
Yeah,
decree off the
at
bat
the
was
minimum, I thought he
oh
was just gonna
gosh.
do Hidden Blade, Call of the Week.
Yeah.
Oh no, with the Poro in the back, that wouldn't even work, right? Because he would just choose the Poro as that option. So that is gonna be
Yeah.
GG. We find ourselves in this final round of Swiss in a game 3. potentially one of these players might be moving forward into top cut. I say potentially because there's always a couple X1s that get mad at me for not squeezing in there. But we could only do a top four. We're already going in about 6 hour tournament so far. Two more rounds, we'll be adding 2 more hours to that at the very minimum. So we can't go on forever, ever, of course. So this is nice and sweet. It looks like the last battlefield for Rek'Sai will be the Candlelit Sanctum. And I'm wondering, from Victor, what do we see already? We saw one Dreaming Tree. We saw what did we just play this last one? Oh, Targons. And then I'm wondering what
Yep.
this
Yeah.
last one might be.
And that was kind of a crazy combination last game as well, right? Because you go conquer on Targons, get 2 runes, conquer on another one, get a draw, and then both players are doing that like every turn. So
Yeah. Okay, nice. And the Ravensbloom Conservatory, because you do have so many spells in that deck, so it makes sense. Even Sprite calls are spells. The only units we tend to see in the deck, I believe, was a Sprite Mother, but might not. Maybe it was a sideboard card that he puts back in the sideboard on the play. Because right now it was Watcher, the Chosen Champion, which is not even in the deck. And Innae, can you recall any other units? Because I don't think he's
yeah, we
running the Jace Armory combo. At least we haven't seen it yet.
well, we did see the brokers. So
Oh,
they're
true,
the
true,
brokers.
true.
Not you're right, not a lot though. Definitely not a lot.
Yeah, Victor will be on the play, so just develops a nice little recruit token as Victor players tends to do. A double Phoenix opening though, not opening but opening hand doesn't feel too bad. We know those are your one of your cards that make the biggest impact throughout the entirety of the game. So goes ahead and plays it for the first thing he does. Not too bad. I feel like for starting the draw, a little bit better than Victor had on his turn one because now you're going to be able to push forward, but there's a good amount of removal in hand. Wages of Pain can make it an even trade. A Hidden Blade could come out too, but you don't ever feel too bad drawing too early on. So we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. It looks like the Candlelit Anthem decided to put both of them at the bottom. I actually couldn't tell.
Kind of confused why we pushed onto Candlelit here and not Ravenmoon. Because generally when you pick these, you pick your going first battlefield. You want to play on your going first battlefield. And
Right.
uh but okay. And opting to not hide his hidden blade either. So now a piercing light or a falling star is just gonna obliterate. We'll see if that does happen.
Deciding to save the piercing light for a little bit later, but going with the blood money on his own recruit token, allowing him to generate 2 gold resources for the next turn. Not too bad. But I agree with you, Innae. I think that was a conservatory play because you could have got a +1 draw if that next card was a spell on top of the blood money play that he just did. But let's see what he gets off the top for Rek'Sai. It's going to be a Call of the Week and a Poro. So he could play out the Call of the Week if he really wants to get this tempo swing. But foregoes both of the cards. And wait a second. He did
So one was
Candlelight Anthem
Candlelit. Yeah.
first, and then Rek'Sai, of course, of course.
Yeah, I definitely would have preferred to see a piercing light and just piercing light away both tokens. And sure, there's gonna be he still can like do his blood money or whatever, but again, one of the things that the Victor deck struggles with is developing units that can actually do things immediately. It's somewhat slow. So if aggressively removing their base means that they're set turns behind. And we've seen that this Victor list in particular is not playing some of the higher impact spells. Like it's not playing any of the. We haven't seen any of the like any vengeances. Any what's the quicksand card? Do you know the name of
Drag
it?
Under, yeah, you're totally right. We haven't seen those hard removal cards from Victor just
No.
yet.
So it is kind of interesting. I definitely would prefer just hard aggressively removing their units. And I think this is something that you kind of it's like a matchup knowledge kind of check thing, right? You really need to know all of the decks in the meta and how they play, not just your own deck. Because if you know how the other decks work, you can identify their weaknesses and play towards their weaknesses. In this case, because I know that the Victor deck works like this, I'm able to identify that that's what the play should So I
Mhm.
think that's something that's a bit underrated, and that you should just like a tip for people trying to play competitive is know all the other decks. Don't just know your own deck.
Yeah, being familiar in the matchup might just be one of the more important aspects of TCG, especially in the competitive setting. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. A lot of players just tend to practice that single best deck in the format matchup, but you forget a lot of people are going to these events to kind of spice things up. Maybe they're playing for the best of pricing, so it's really good to be diversified in what matchups and experience you have. So I 100% agree with you, Na. But let's see what Rek'Sai decides to do. Going up on the conservatory with one of his poros, going up to 2 points himself, does decide to use the Rek'Sai legend ability for the Soaring Scout. So going to be playing out for two. Doesn't work the same as the Void Rush, of course. That would be crazy legend ability if it did. But so far, not looking too bad. I feel like both of these players are rather even. Victor with the consult the pass hidden, so he's able to get two more cards off this piercing light. Not gonna let this recruit go down for nothing. At the very minimum, you're gonna be drawing two, but that's a full board wipe. Piercing light, such a great card, especially when you can use the repeat ability on top of it.
Yeah, so here isn't like that was good. Don't get me wrong. I would have liked to see a turn before. I will say this time I probably would have preferred just using it for the non-repeat, so then you can play out your Phoenix for more tempo on your side, right?
Yeah, you're saying just
Not bad
leave one
though.
unit
Yeah,
behind.
yeah, just leave them the one recruit, and in that case, you have more units, and your opponent has showed that they don't play like the hard removal stuff. So the some of your stuff is gonna get you're gonna have more value. Like you haven't seen a ton of bellows breaths yet. Obviously, they exist, but I would like to see just more board developed because the Victor deck is playing like less spells. It's still playing the spells, but it's playing less spells.
Mhm.
And and there's the Sprite Mother again.
And does decide to not give him a potential another draw from the conservatory. So goes for Conquer on the Candlelit. Sees two good cards off the top. Let's see if he decides to keep one. Bellows Breath is okay since a lot of these tokens or a lot of these Rek'Sai cards are a little bit lower to the ground, but you don't have that combo with Imperial Decree. So I think he decided to put them both at the bottom. Blood Money gonna be getting rid of the other Poro, just generating one gold, but that's about as good as you can get for this turn and didn't feel all that impactful. You do have a Sprite Mother in the back, but looks like he's going to be hiding a Hidden Blade most likely or a Consult the Past, both decently good. Yeah, might as well save the Hidden Blade for one of your opponent's opposing units since you're just going to be drawing two anyways.
Yeah, definitely not bad, and it gets about the same amount of value either way, right?
Right.
They target your thing, and you don't necessarily want because Rek'Sai doesn't really want to swing in there. Like you'd prefer to swing into the Raven Bloom. And again, I'm kind of surprised we keep playing on Candlelit rather than Raven Bloom, as that is our field. But I guess the idea is he just wants to see his side deck cards, and I'm not sure which cards are his side deck cards. But if you're drawing two after looking scrying two pretty much every turn, you are going to see them more often. So
Right, and I think in that previous situation, it was more so to not let the Rek'Sai get any more
mhm.
cards. But in the previous ones, I know exactly what you mean. Seeing the two cards off the top for the Rek'Sai ability is going to be a Forerunner and a Hopeful. Does decide to play out the Hopeful for two energy since he did already play out the Sundisk this turn. Does come in accelerated because of the exhausted use from Sundisk. I think he did tap it before. It wasn't mid trigger. I would imagine. Because you play Sundis, that doesn't count as Legion yet, right? Or does it?
it does because Sundisk itself is a card that was played, and the
Right.
ability is
Okay.
Legion. So the turn you play the Sundisk, you are essentially given a free use of it because you get a free Legion. The problem with the card is after that first turn, you gotta play a card, trigger Sundisk, and then play another, and it can get a little bit wonky.
Oh
So,
man, and a fantastic top deck for the Victor player, getting a Stupefy exactly when he needed it most, bringing the Hopeful down to 3 might, allowing that even trade. But the salvage, he learned his lesson from game 1/game 2. Sundiz gets so much immense value in those Rek'sai decks with things like Immortal Phoenix coming in accelerated, those Noxus Hopefuls coming in accelerated. So salvage, a perfect cyborg card, and it looks like he's bringing more than one. I wouldn't be too surprised to see all three in this matchup because Sundays did make a big impact, I feel like, in that game too.
mhm. Yeah, unfortunately, even though the Stupefy was a good trade, it didn't really change any of the math right because you did end up going. Rek'Sai still is on even points. I will say this Bell's Breath is going to help a lot, right? Because it's going to be pretty hard for Rek'Sai to field 2 accelerate units if it's even possible. I know it's like you play Rek'Sai champion and then you have like a Void Rush to play another thing and then use the Rek'Sai champion to give it accelerate, but it's pretty unlikely. So the Bell's Breath there keeps Rek'Sai probably on odd, which you definitely want to see as the Victor player.
I agree. And taking a look at the time, funny enough, we have
Oh,
just hit time and we're playing 100% by the rules, which I think we should, of course.
yes.
Victor is the winner currently. He's at 5 total points. We had a game on our hands with that Sunday's top deck, though.
Mhm.
There is a salvage though, so maybe it would have ended up playing out the same way. But let's go ahead and give these guys the go. Man,
Yep.
part of me, the inner competitive player in me, really just wants to see this played out. But the TO
Yep.
in me, keeping everything fair, I just want to go by the rules.
Yep, I think you're definitely right to go by the rules, and it's unfortunate, but this is another thing that you can get better at as a player is making sure you plan out your turns ahead and you can play nice and fast. So, unfortunately, we do go to time, and that is going to. It was a good game. I think that
It
it was
was.
definitely doable, but what can you do? Sometimes it happens.
It does happen. And I mean, if we kind of extrapolate a little bit, Rek'Sai has a single card in hand. Of course, he could have another Immortal Phoenix, but to my knowledge, I feel like Victor would have ended up winning this game regardless. You have Sprite Calls, you have the salvage for the Sun Disc that came down, you have a Hidden Blade to draw even two more cards. You still have your champion as well. So I think when everything is all said and done, and it still looks like a decent game though, but we'll just go by
Yep.
the rules, chat. That's gonna be GG. I'll let these players know um, that was time in the round. And Chad's gonna hate me. They're like, plus, why don't you want to see this awesome game? Because as I said, the competitive player in me, I would love to watch this one. But just keeping fair as we've done for the previous ones, maybe I will introduce round overtime for weeklies. But weeklies were supposed to be something more short and sweet, as we tend to do them every week. But with Wednesdays, I am only gonna do Wednesdays on a bi-weekly schedule. So maybe for the bi-weekly ones, we don't. But let me type this out. That was time in the round, guys. And yeah, even in this situation, the Immortal Phoenix didn't even get the conquer. So
Yeah.
Estelion will be taking it down. Let's head back to the commentary booth. Nonetheless, still a heck of a game to close things out for the Swiss bracket. Now there's a big question still left to be answered. What four legends managed to